You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan England, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit hiring system, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. You know by now that I'm a huge fan of increasing productivity for your team, whether that's through a process or through a software platform. I'm your host, Ryan England, and in today's episode of Titans of the Trades, I sit down with Travis Harvego. He's the CEO of Roofle. They've actually come up with a really fantastic way to help sales teams for roofing companies become more productive, more efficient, more effective at closing. And they're able to do it completely remote. So get ready. We're going to talk not only about his software, but about some of the things that you can do to engage and retain your best employees by implementing the best technology. All right, here we go. I want to welcome to today's show, Travis Harvego, CEO of Roofle. Travis, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Ryan.
Yeah, we were getting to chat a little bit before we started here, and it sounds like you have a wealth of knowledge to support not just the roofing industry, but also contractors in general. Huge passion for the trades. Tell me a little bit about your story and tell me a little bit about Roofle.
Yeah. So my story is I got my start when I was young, 20 years old. I became a canvasser. So I actually came out of college at 20 and there was no jobs. There was a recession at that time, 2009. And so I went out and found a job as a door knocking canvasser, started knocking doors, setting appointments, and then worked my way up through the construction industry to eventually become a president of a $40 million residential remodeling company. And so, it took time, 12 and a half years that I was there, but I had really good opportunity, throughout my time at that construction company. But I learned a ton of things at that construction company. And so that was where, at that time, when I was leading it, within the leadership program, we're like, hey, what's the next biggest thing to come to the industry? What else can we do? And we looked at virtual sales. And so that's where really Roofle came into play, was that basically Roofle was a company that was a B2C software company. We were selling direct to consumer. And so when we were selling direct to consumer, we were selling all over the country because we were in Minnesota, that's where our location was. So we were kind of limited on when we could sell overall because we had harsh winters there. So we said, hey, if we could sell, virtually, then we can sell all year round. And so then we launched it. Went really well. We're about 2.5 years in, and then we've flipped to become a B2B SaaS company exclusively. So we don't sell anymore to homeowners. We only now offer our technology to roofing contractors so they can do really the same thing within their business.
And the roofing industry, out of all of the trade professions, I think really does have that unique model where it's very accepted, most likely because people only need a new roof, every 10, 15 years, where you can actually have a remote location and then find someone local to sub it out to. Like the plumbing world doesn't work that way, right? Not like roofing does.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really cool that at the beginning of the pandemic, you were able to find this opportunity and say, hey, we can expand beyond our normal borders. People don't want to see us anyways, right? It's all virtual.
Yeah.
I love that you were able to capitalize on that. It's that kind of forward thinking that I think is going to help help the industry in general, but also get people really thinking outside the box, which I think the industry is primed for a little bit of a reboot on the way we market and the way we think. I don't care if you're in roofing or plumbing, mechanical, whatever it is. The world's changed, and I don't think we've changed fast enough with it. So it sounds like what you're doing with Roofle is really more cutting edge and leading the pack here for that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your experience with the remodeling contractor, some of the things that you learned over those 12 years that really prepared you for leading this technology play and Roofle.
I think it's, when I was part of that organization, I always wanted to kind of be a part of all the different areas of the construction company. So like I went out and did sales. Some days some sales guys couldn't show up. I went out and did sales, and even in production, I'd go out and help in production. I was very heavily involved in a lot of what was going on there. I wasn't just kind of a guy in the office and in a desk. I was very involved and able to see the different parts of the business and understand really what was actually happening within the employees. And so I think one of the bigger things that we looked at, number one, as far as that I tell a lot of contractors is that really focus on your employees and give them opportunity for growth and really invest back into your employees, because it will come back to really help you in the long run. I mean, our turnover being less than 1%, really the whole time that I was there, it was pretty substantial, but we gave our employees, we put things back into them, whether it be education or opportunities that they could continue to grow, which would happen within me, myself, to help put me to where now I am today. And then also paying attention to the industry trends. So that's really where Roofle got its start, was that we were looking at as far as the trends. So millennials own over 1/3 of the homes today. So we said, okay, so now if we know that our target demographic is going to start being the millennials and even the younger generation now, baby boomers are kind of more or less coming out. What is driving them to buy, right? And the millennials, they want it now. They want to be in control. They don't really like humans, right? So we kind of figured that out quickly, that when we were doing the B2C models, that they would prefer to use technology and be in control rather than having somebody in their house, right? Because most of them, they don't really want that face to face, right?
Yeah.
So we were seeing those trends when we were in the construction company, and so they were like, "Hey, do you guys offer virtual? Do you guys have to come out? Do I have to be here? Can you just leave the slip on my door?" And so we're seeing those. Okay, well, what's a way that we can, be able to do this? And that's really where our start really came together, was really there, and say, okay, let's offer a solution for these homeowners, because the roofing world, or even trades in general, are not great at adapting to the consumer. It's kind of, here's how it's been for 100 years. Here's the way that we're going to do it. But if you watch even some of the HVAC people that are out there, they're kind of really adapting ahead of a lot of others, because you start to see a lot of technology being involved with them, like the text messaging on their way whenever they get there, and the photo, just all the things that they're doing. They're a little further ahead than the other ones. But again, it's only a matter of time before the other trades start to really pick up and give really the consumer what they want.
Yeah. No, I think you're so spot on there. And it's something that if you're in the trades right now, and especially if you're a residential contractor, you need to hear this. The world has changed. People make decisions about what neighborhood they're going to live in based on whether or not Amazon Prime is there, right? Like, we want it now. We want it yesterday. I can tell you that, I mean, not just my family, but we have friends too, that they'll scroll through something, and if it takes 4 days to get there on Amazon, they can have it today, but it's $12 more. They're getting it today, right? Like, we don't want to wait. And I think one of the things in especially residential contracting, and I love that roofing has gone this way, is estimates, right? Every contractor has an idea of what it's going to cost to replace something. I was shopping around for a plumber, and I was calling a couple places. And I was like, can you just give me an idea of what it's going to cost? I have a new toilet. I want the old toilet taken off, the new toilet put on. Just give me an idea. Mm-hmm. Nobody would give me a quote over the phone. Nobody would do it. Whether they were afraid I was going to have sticker shock, or they were afraid that they weren't going to be able to upsell me, or whatever it is, they just had this fear of being able to even give me an idea, even a range I couldn't get. And I think one of the cool things about your software is you can actually give real-time estimates, because you're using some fancy voodoo magic to look at the roof and come up with an idea of what it's going to cost, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole idea, is really we're bringing price transparency to somewhere to where now we're able to have consumer confidence in us, right? By having that transparency. Yeah. So with the voodoo magic that we have, it allows the consumer to come to your website and now enter in their address. Once they enter their address, it's going to bring up an image of their property that they have, and then they just submit their information to be able to see the price. And again, it's all the contractor's pricing, and it's all the contractor's products. So they put their products in there, they put their pricing in there. So when that price is displayed, whether they want to do just price per month, or a one-time price, or a price range, however that the contractor wants to display it, that's what pops into the homeowner. Now the homeowner understands, okay, now I can see that it's not going to be $5,000, it's going to be $20,000. Because a lot of these consumers, like you say, haven't done a roof in 10 to 15 years. Well, think about how much the cost has gone up since the last time they had to do a roofing project.
Well, eggs are 5 times the cost in just the last couple of years. So if roofing has followed that at all, we're in trouble.
Exactly, right? And so that's where we talk a lot about, like, weeding out these tire kickers, right? So a lot of people who ever say, man, you have cut down on so much drive time and gas cost, and being able to make my sales reps much more efficient. And our close rate has risen, by 30 points, because these appointments that we're actually going to in servicing, they've already seen a price. By the time that we get out there, we're the only ones in our area that was willing to give some sort of price and understanding. So they committed to using us, because nobody else in our area was willing to be that transparent with the pricing, so they say, okay, yep, come on out because you're the only guy who told me he was going to be between 20 and 30,000. Now I understand when you go out there, price is not an objection because if he thought it was 5, he would have told you don't come. He knows it's 20 to 30.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it used to be you just had to be the contractor that showed up, but things have changed a little bit now. And now if you're the contractor that's got the technology, can communicate with people, one of the things we talk about all the time with candidates. So a lot of recruiting we do. Sometimes candidates will just give you a cell phone number and they'll give you some garbage email address. Mm-hmm. Well, it's because they want you to text them. They don't want you to call them. They don't want you to do any of that stuff. They want to communicate with you over the method they gave you to communicate with. And if I'm shopping for a new roof online, guess what? I want you to communicate with me online.
Right.
I don't want you to get me on a phone and give me some hard sales pitch and do all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I love the idea that Roofle was born out of this consumer-driven demand. It's what the consumers wanted. You made a comment earlier about working with that remodeling contractor, and I think I misheard you because you said your turnover was 1%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like just
to
1%,
yeah.
not 10, not 100.
Yeah, not single digits. Yeah, 1 to 2%, but very, very, very low. And so again, one thing we did different. All of our people were employees. We didn't do 1099, nothing like that. Everybody was an employee that we had brought on, right? And I'm afraid more to my sales staff than anything else, right? So my sales staff that stays because I mean our guys stayed tenured there because we took care of them so well that our turnover again was so small because of the opportunity that we gave them.
And the reason I shifted gears over to here is I'm curious how much of that idea that we have to give the consumer what they want in order for us to be a better contractor, how much of that mindset and philosophy carried over to we have to give our employees what they want or what they need in order for us to reduce turnover? I would love to know 1 or 2 things you did to really engage your employees and keep them from turning over so much, because I'm sure there's a lot of roofing contractors out there that would love to hear that too.
Yeah. I mean, we just kept them very engaged with everything that was going on. So we would have daily huddles every single day with them. So everyone got together and had those daily huddles. And whether they could join us in person or it was virtually, right? They were all a part of it, to be a part of it as far as what was happening for the day and all those types of things. They just want to be engaged, and keep the engagement going, because if you only have weekly meetings, sometimes you can get a guy who's falling off or in between kind of throughout that week. So we just kept them very engaged and really up to date and been, that here's what's happening, here's what's going on. And I'm talking a 15 to 30 minute huddles, not a long one, right? Just kind of an update as far as what's happening, whatever it may be. And just being able to give them options as far as, again, like, doing virtual sales, right? We give them an opportunity to do virtual sales. So again, if like, okay, well, I can only run maybe 2 appointments, here, but then if I can take some more virtual appointments in the afternoon, I can be able to run those or work with those customers as well. And then just be able to kind of keep them in their territory as much as possible as well. We did a lot of marketing. So we spent a lot of money on marketing and even got to the point where we're doing radio ads and TV where we're pretty well known in the area. So we could keep them pretty well flush with the amount of leads that they get. Now they had an expectation that they had to self-produce so many to be able to keep those up. But as long as we're able to keep them within a range as far as where they're willing to drive and what they're willing to do and keep them updated on what the products were, what the pricing was doing, was that they all pretty much stayed happy. And then again, we would do incentives for them, right? We would do weekly bonuses or weekly giveaways that we kept it very interesting, or even sometimes on a monthly basis to where they all felt very active. It was like a family, because it was almost like if they were leaving, it was like they were leaving their family. And the very few ones that did leave was very hard for them because it felt like that they were leaving family. Because that's just kind of the mentality that we had, with them.
Wow. So I mean, it really does sound like that philosophy carried through, giving them what they want. When you were talking about the daily huddles, FOMO is real. And for those of you who don't know what FOMO is, that's the fear of missing out. And when you're not huddling with your people, you're not spending time with them, you're definitely not getting the feedback, you're not getting the engagement, and they feel like there's things happening that are outside of their control. And we live in this world now where if I want information, I can get it. I mean, I can ask my speaker, I can ask my phone, right? I can type it in, I can have the information in a heartbeat. And so if we're not staying connected with our people, that can be a struggle. And that could be one of the reasons that you have such high turnover. You made a comment about your salespeople though. Did you say they were 1099?
No.
They were W-2 as well?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, some of that is just, I think that's different than what the industry is used to.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen it more and more going towards W-2. I think I have met a lot more contractors. I meet contractors on a weekly basis from all over the country. And I think I've started to see it a little bit swinging more towards W-2. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of 1099s that are out there. But again, we struggle with 1099 because they always have that mentality of like, you're not my boss, right? Like I own my own business, right? So we always struggle with that mentality, right? And so once we made that change, that's where we're able to see those retention rates, right? To be so much better because again, like we can make them part of the family and it got people that we wanted to get there. Most of those 1099 guys are kind of really in it just for themselves. It's all about me. And if they see a better opportunity, they're going to jump. If they're paying me 1% more commission over here, I'm going to jump over here, go over there. It's like we want people that want to come here and be part of the family. It's about the long-term strategy. Right, of working together to be able to grow it rather than he's going to jump this season for this percentage and jump this season. The guy has 25 different shirts he's got in his closet because he doesn't know who he's working for the next season. They weren't for us. And we've turned down plenty of guys that were $1 million+ producers because they weren't right for us. And we knew that it would be more of a cancer by bringing them in to have them come in, be a big producer, and also then they leave. Right. It was just like, it wasn't a good fit.
Well, and I think about that, and you made a couple of comments around really, it was just that culture. We want to be a part of the family. And I love that. And I think back to what you're doing now with Roofle. I mean, most salespeople I know don't like the data entry and the researching and the chasing and all that. They want to get out there. They want to sell. They want to close. They want to move on. That's their livelihood. That's what drives them. That's what motivates them. And I imagine a software platform like Roofle really helps with that. Cuts down on all of those. You get out to there and then they forgot to, you were coming and now you got ghosted and now you got to chase them and you got to start over. You can have that conversation digitally. For those people listening right now, they're like, oh, this sounds awesome, but oh my gosh, software is so expensive, such a time commitment. You got to get the team to, embrace it and everything else that are thinking about how do I improve my business, take it to the next level? What are some of the things that you've helped them overcome that with? How do you talk to these owners and entrepreneurs that are like, I've done software before, it doesn't work, it's a challenge, but all I hear is increased productivity. Increased productivity leads to increased profitability. Like, I don't understand like what the thing is, but I know there's a lot of people out there that resist this type of change. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it really comes down to, as far as the number one reason why they fail is it's implementation. They're not able to implement it within their business. And that's really, for me, coming from the construction background, I knew any sort of new technology that we got, it was going to be at least 50 to 100 hours of work on our side to get it implemented. And that's where we take that lift off, where we have a specialized onboarding team that helps them get everything set up, put their logos in there, put their fonts, put their colors, put their pricing, put their products in there. So by the time that they're coming out of onboarding, this thing is ready to go. It's installed. It's ready to use. So that really takes all that power out of thinking about how I'm going to use this. And then we also walk them through scenarios as far as, okay, are you a $10 million business, $20 million business, $5 million business? What is your current marketing strategies? What are you doing? And understanding and bringing the whole package together for them so they understand, according to your current business model, here's probably the best solution on how to be able to use this, to be able to funnel people here or whatever it may be, so that we have a good understanding. Yeah, you have to ask the questions. You have to do the discovery. You have to know what products that they're using, what markets, that they work in. But by us putting that work in, it leads to them actually implementing the product and being able to use it. And then on the contractor side, it's more or less just them being like, show my pricing online. You're crazy. That's what we hear. Why would I do that for? Nobody else does it. And it's like, okay, well, let me tell you why you should do that, right? Let me tell you from the point of view of your consumer, because you're thinking about you as the roofing contractor, right? And so let's think about from the consumer, point of view, right? And he's like, yeah, I have these stupid form fills on my website that say free inspection, free estimate. Nobody's going to submit their information on there, right? Or unlikely, right? Because every other contractor in my market has that. But what if you're different? What if you are the contractor that is transparent with this pricing, is offer something like this to where he can, get more lead conversions or conversions on his website because you're now giving the homeowner something of value, right? In return. Mm-hmm. And I said, don't you think your competitors already know what your pricing is? I knew when I was a sales rep and I went into the house, I knew if I was up against ABC and XYZ that they were going to be here and they were going to be here. I knew I was going to be right in the middle, right? Your competitors pretty much already know what your pricing is, right? As far as what it's going to be. So when they start to think about it from the consumer angle of it, that's where they come back and they say, okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And so that's where they've been able to say, okay, we have to change from a contracting standpoint because our consumers are changing. It's not just, me just showing our price online.
So really there's two sides to it. One is just the owner just wrapping their head around the idea that we're going to put pricing out there. We're going to implement this software and it's going to support our customer. Like that needs to be the focus of something like this. And then there's the other side of it is really getting your team to embrace it, which is where you walk them through those questions and that line of thinking and, hey, how can we make this easier for you and more effective for you?
Yeah.
Which I think is often missed.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are often missed when you talk about whether it's a CRM or a field service management or even estimating software. I think a lot of the times we just think, oh, we turn the software on and it works and we're solid. What are some thoughts you have on the ongoing piece? Because I'd imagine that the with like Roofle or any software platform, the return on investment just grows over time. You get more proficient. You're going to find new ways, better ways to use it. What are some maybe one tip that you have for people who have embraced software or looking to embrace new software and getting their team to really engage and take it to that next level, really dig deep into it?
Yeah, I think one of the bigger things is that when we go in and talk to sales reps, because we do a lot of sales rep training where people on training, and we say, with this technology, you can use it yourself. So the consumer can use it, yes, but you as a sales rep, you can do it as well. We put it into their hands on their phone or in their tablet while they're in the field. Now they can be generating the estimates within seconds or minutes rather than hours or days. One of the bigger complaints that you hear from consumers is that I have to wait 2 or 3 days to be able to get a price. And so now you're able to generate the same type of stuff that a homeowner would be able to, but you can in the field and actually give it to them while you're on site right then and there. And that's where sales reps are like, I need this. I want this because I spend way too many hours. I miss way too many deals because I can't get back to them, fast enough as far as giving them prices. So they're able to speed that up. And then from my owner standpoint, even is like the cost for this, it is $5,500 for the year. Now, there are ways that we have discounts to get it for a little cheaper than that. But let's say $5,500 for the entire year, unlimited users, unlimited usage, as much as you want to use it. How many jobs do you have to sell to make up that cost? Most cases, it's 1, 2, right? Maybe as far as to be able to make that cost. After that, it's all 100% pure profit after that, as far as it's already made its money back thereafter. So it's getting everybody on board on how it's going to affect them or make their job easier or better so that they can see, okay, I need to use this.
Yeah, I love that. So it's really understanding what they want, what their needs are, and then showing them how this benefits them. Not just, hey, I'm going to get richer as the owner, so you got to do it. It's like, no, this is going to make your life better. Travis, this has been great. I love talking about technology. I love talking about systems, ways to increase productivity, because attracting and keeping great people is such a passion of mine. And it sounds like what you're doing over at Roofle not only can support that as a tool, but it also sounds like a lot of the philosophies that you bring to this can actually help change the mindset and really make even just one at a time, make the trades just a little bit better place to work. How do people learn about you? How do they learn more about Roofle, everything that you've got going on there? And I think you've even got an offer for our listeners.
Yeah, so just go to roofle.com. That's ROOFLE.com. There you'll be able to see, all of our pricing is pretty laid out. We're very transparent on what the costs are. You can also book a demo there as well if you want to meet with one of our specialists to walk you through the platform as well. But on there, you'll be able to find our discounts and coupon section. That's right there on roofle.com. And then you can be able to get our special offer that we have, which is $1,000 off of our onboarding costs. So that can reduce your cost down to $4,500 for the year. So instead of that $5,500, it's $4,500. So now in most cases, one job pretty much takes care of the cost of the software.
Oh, yeah. And you're going to be getting a lot more than just one extra job when you embrace this and you put it on your website and you teach your people how to use it. Travis, thank you so much for being here today. I've really enjoyed our conversation. And I think that what you guys are up to over there at Roofle and just the way you're changing that mindset just a little bit on how to use this technology, I think is not only great for the customers, but also great for the industry. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Ryan England here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.